Well, it seems that with the good comes the bad. Now, the good for AEW last night at Grand Slam, that got a lot of people talking, of course, as I just mentioned in a recent video, is the debut of Saraya, formerly Paige in WWE. Now, whether or not she'll be able to wrestle, that's another story. Hopefully she'll be able to, because, you know, like I said in the video, I admit I would love to see her get back in the ring. But along with that good, though, comes some bad. And according to Wade Keller of PWTORCH, one of the more reliable sources out there when it comes to wrestling news, there is speculation and discussion in AEW internally, I should say, in AEW internally, that CM Punk may not be back with the company. That he is pretty much done with all elite wrestling. And the reason Wade Keller of PWTORCH is reporting this is because of the fact that there has apparently been speculated discussion, rumors of discussion, if not legitimate discussion, of a buyout of his contract occurring. That's right. Basically, you know, because of what happened, you know, after the media scrum, after CM Punk's appearance in the media scrum, and that brawl that took place in the back between him, the Bucks, Omega, Steele, Daniels, Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler, Pat Buck, you name it. That whole situation. The rumor going around that because of it, CM Punk may be out of AEW. That All Out was the last time we would see him in an AEW ring. Now, true, whether or not All Out would be the last time we see him in an AEW ring for a while, if at all, part of that, part of not seeing him in the AEW ring for a while is basically true because of his injury. And there's no getting around that. It's an injury that's going to take him months to recover from. Almost a year. Not a whole year, but almost a year. Almost a year to recover from. And, in that time, a lot of people are assuming that maybe cooler heads could prevail and things will get better. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But according to, like I said, Wade Keller of PWTORCH, or the PWTORCH, if you will, the word is that CM Punk, his contract with AEW could get bought out and he won't be back. Whether he recovers quickly from the injury or not, he will not be back with the company. And all because of what happened in that brawl. Now, the question is, would this be a big loss for AEW? Absolutely. Absolutely, it would be a huge loss. Because whether we like to admit it or not, he is a draw. He puts people's butts in the seats. That is an undisputed fact. We know it. He puts people's butts in the seat. But because of the fact that he instituted the first physical altercation, between himself and the Bucks, according to those that were there, including a lawyer for AEW, a legal representative for AEW that the Bucks, I guess, brought with them, I'm assuming to be an eyewitness or something, because he threw the first punch, that basically, in the eyes of some people, may have sealed his deal. Now, I want you to recall a video I did several weeks ago. I said, basically, that a report had come out that he was suspended for the time being. Quote unquote, quote unquote, the words time being. And the reason I quoted those two words, time being, or at least put them in parentheses, is because of the fact that, that meant anything potentially could happen, could change. For one, Punk could be fired, from the company. Two, his suspension could go a lot longer than anybody else's, even beyond recovering from his injury. And while that's happening, people like the Bucks and Omega could come back when things cool down. But Punk would remain suspended even after his recovery, and potentially without pay. I said that, that could be one, possibility of, basically working around the time being situation. It could have been one of those two. And even the third option is he could have came to an agreement. He could have came to an agreement with Tony Khan to just part peacefully and mutually, and that's it. But what I didn't say in that video was the possibility of a buyout, because that was never really an option, to say the least, in my opinion. But it seems that according to Wade Keller, that is going to be the most likely option from what he's hearing. And like I said, is it going to be a big loss? Absolutely. It's going to be a huge loss. But as some people have pointed out, it would basically diminish the return that Tony Khan made betting on CM Punk coming into the company. It would diminish the return that Tony Khan was hoping to get more out of when it came to Punk because of who he is. But also, some would say that it would cause CM Punk's return to AEW and to wrestling back in 2021, last year, to be the most disappointing return, period. Because in less than 1 year of his return, he pretty much went from being the hero to being the villain, from being back in professional wrestling, which he loves to do, to being gone from it again, because he can't control his anger, he can't control his emotions, and he just goes off, when his fuse is lit. And when he goes off, he basically, as I used an example before, when talking about this, and I say with all due respect, no offense, all due respect, no offense. When he went off in that media scrum, that's like basically the atomic bomb being dropped on Hiroshima, towards the end of World War II. That's what it was like. That's what it was like. And I don't disagree with people saying it will be looked at as one of the most disappointing returns in wrestling, bar none. Probably number one, topping off it. Like if you did a countdown of disappointing returns, Punk's would probably be ranked at the top right away. But for someone like Tony Khan, it would be a devastating investment loss, because basically by bringing in Punk, he was able to do what nobody thought was possible, and allow Punk to have this platform to pretty much be himself in a way, not realizing that Punk is the kind of person that doesn't get along with those that are authority figures, but also are authority figures that can compete in the ring, and that pretty much have it out for him for some reason. Well, we find out what that reason is apparently, but you get the idea. So Tony Khan, some people would say, shares in the blame, because one, he should have basically cut CM Punk's mic, at that media scrum, as I check my time here, before I clock in. He should have stopped Punk, at that media scrum when he had the opportunity, but he didn't. He just allowed Punk to keep going and going and going, Well, all he could do is just sit there dumbfounded. And that didn't make him look good. But a lot of people also have said that he should have known better when he brought Punk in, that Punk is the kind of person that will not get along with someone or certain people like the Elite, especially if they have the power that they will. So, so I agree that Tony Khan does need to take the blame and that he should have known better, and thus, because he didn't take the blame and he didn't know better, pretty much the investment he poured into CM Punk here, the money he spent to sign CM Punk to this contract, is down the toilet. As one person said in a comment, it's all flushed down the toilet. And thus now we're at a point where they may have to, to keep peace in AEW, they may have to buy, they may have to buy out CM Punk's contract, and thus, remove him from AEW entirely. And here's what's interesting. Some people pointed this out. If you listen to commentary during the first matchup of the night, Ian Riccaboni, who is the head commentator of Ring of Honor, did not list CM Punk as one of the men that held the Ring of Honor Championship, even though he did. And I think it was on multiple occasions. He held it on multiple occasions, right? But they didn't list his name. He didn't mention his name. They acted like, he never won it, or he never existed. And according to somebody that was actually there was no merchandise of Punk's at the merchandise stand, outside of, in the vendor area, if you will, outside in the vendor area of the stadium. And according to this person, when they asked, well, why aren't you, selling Punk merchandise? According to what they heard, the answer they got is, oh, it's because he's not coming back. Now, one could interpret that as, well, he's not coming back because he's injured, so why sell his merchandise if he's not here to help promote it, right? Nope. Nope. That's not what it sounded like to this person. But one could interpret it as, he's injured, so why sell that merchandise if he's not around to help promote it, right? But others could interpret it, as I just mentioned, like that one person did, as if, they're hearing the fact for the first time that, oh, the reason we're not selling his merchandise is he's not going to be with AEW anymore. And if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, again, it's not a good look for AEW, it's not a good look for CM Punk, it's not a good look for Tony Khan. Because basically, from a financial standpoint, all the money you spent and invested into this guy, into doing what like I said earlier, doing what no one else could do, and bring him back to the company, well, not just to the company, but back to professional wrestling after nearly a decade away. All that investment is gone, is out the window. It's burning up right in front of you. If you're Tony Khan, that investment, that money you sank into this guy is going up in flames. And now you have no choice. Oh, you have no choice right now. But to recover that money by possibly buying out his contract act and redistributing that money back into the company, redistributing that money, as a result of a possible buyout back into the company, as well as to other talents that some would say are more deserving of a little extra payout for all the BS they've had to go through putting this guy over when it should have been him putting them over. That's what it seems to be leading towards. That, he's, Tony Khan, is watching, like I said, all that money burn up, all that money he sank into and invested into Punk burn up in front of him. And the only way he's able to recover it is possibly to buy out Punk's contract and let Punk go. Now, a lot of people might say, well, why would they want to buy out his contract? Why can't they just, keep him suspended for an unspecified, duration of time, or unspecified easy for me to say, an undetermined amount of time, an unpacific amount of time. Why can't they just keep him suspended for an undetermined, unpacific, amount of time, maybe without pay, and then bring him back when they feel okay, he's got his anger issues under control, things have cooled down, we can work with him again. Why not do that? And that's a good question. That is a good question. And, that still might happen. That still might happen. But there's also the speculation, and I'm sure people have thought about this, even though some would say they don't have a say in it, when you have a wrestling promotion, promote some of your most popular programmings or events as part of their show, then yeah, I would say you have some say. And there are some people that might speculate that WBD may have had a say, in suggesting, if not, ordering, well, I wouldn't say order, but suggesting strongly that, Tony Khan buy out CM Punk's contract, to prevent any more chaos from happening. Now, I'm not saying that's entirely true, but that's one possibility as to why this buyout talk has been, has come out recently, over the past 24 hours. That's one way people could look at it. Now, the other way people could look at it is the lawyer, the legal representative, what is her name, Laura or something like that? I can't think of her name right now. She could have gone to Tony Khan and said, hey, the elite, she could have pointed out that, yeah, Punk, draws people to the arenas, draws people to tune in and everything, that's true. But the elite are what you built this company on. The elite are what helps you make this company what it is. And she would say that they have more value to AEW than CM Punk does, in the long term. And she could also point out that since, Punk's the one as world champion that started the whole physicality in this altercation, that it'd be best for the company, in the near future, if you just buy out his contract. Without him here, you're losing without him here, even if he's injured, you're losing a lot of money on this investment. So why not just buy out the contract? Buy out the contract and let him go. Just let him go, and just give it time. Just give it time and see maybe if perhaps eventually he will cool down and learn to control his anger. She could have been the one that made the suggestion. We don't know. But yeah, but overall there is speculation, guys. There is strong speculation right now that, according to Wade Keller of PWTORCH, CM Punk may not be long for AEW. He may not be long for AEW because of the potential fact that his contract, I would assume, keep peace in that company, his contract may soon be bought out and he may be let go. But we'll see what happens. Again, it's just something that Wade Keller is reporting, that he's hearing, people talk about legitimately and speculating about. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on the fact that CM Punk's contract may be possibly bought out, by Tony Khan and AEW, thus letting him go from the company early because of what's happened? What do you think about this news? Do you think it might do you think it's probably the most likely option to happen? What are your thoughts? Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, comment, in the live chat during the premiere. Like I said, comment in the live chat during the premiere. I got to get into the store, guys, and get clocked in for work. But comment down below in the live chat during the premiere. Super stickers, super chats, R&D open. You can also check me out on my BW Roses Discussions podcast. You can check me out there at all your favorite podcast locations except for Pandora. You can also check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses, the $1, $3 tier. And also at Venmo at Brian-Walmart-2 and Cash App at BW Roses 98. Also check out the Teespring store as well. And at VENMO, check me out there at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. And until then, I'll talk to you later.